Sadly, again, all 9 people on board died. Fire Chief Daryl Osby also spoke to one of the specific challenges fire crews had to face as they tried to put out the flames.
How y'all doing, y'all?
Our firefighters hiked in to the accident site with their medical equipment and hose lines to extinguish the stubborn fire, as it included the brush fire, debris from the helicopter, and the fire also included magnesium. It's very hard for our firefighters to extinguish because magnesium reacts with oxygen and water.
And again, the Sheriff's Department not confirming at this point that NBA legend Kobe Bryant was on board. They do want to wait for that final confirmation from the coroner's office. Back here live, you can see some of the folks from the fire department that are here, a number of officials here. So, Pat, we do expect to get an update again at some point. But I can tell you when that press conference was held and we learned that not 5 but 9 people had died, there was just a gasp that went up from everyone here. So much loss here today.
So much loss indeed, Kara. And again, that's why we wait for information to be confirmed, because this is something that we found out just later today. Thank you, Kara. We have more breaking news now. I believe we're going to go to Jim, who's going to talk with someone who was also beloved by Kobe Bryant.
Absolutely, Pat. He is John Ireland. He is the voice of the Los Angeles Lakers. John, now you and I have been talking a little bit already, and I know you are in shock as the rest of us are.
Jim, I've been traveling with the Lakers for 22 years and hundreds of flights each year, and this was the worst plane flight I've ever been on. About an hour into it, we normally fly home after the games, but our game in Philadelphia was so late last night. It was a nationally televised game. Didn't start till 8:30 in Philly, and so because of that, the decision was made to spend the night there and fly home this morning to keep everybody on a regular sleep schedule. And about an hour into the flight today is when that news broke, and we were all hoping and praying that it was wrong. You know, in this era of social media, you see somebody or some entity tweet that something as horrible as this has happened. We were just hoping that it was some type of sick hoax. And when we found out it wasn't, you can imagine everybody on that plane is connected to Kobe. And he was the brightest star in our galaxy for every year we were there. And to get this news in the air and to watch the reactions of everybody on board was the worst.
John, what was some of the reactions coming from the players who were in shock on the plane?
Disbelief. Like, come on, what now, Jim, is going to turn out to be his last tweet came last night after LeBron passed him on the NBA's all-time scoring list, and he was very magnanimous. He's been doing a lot of interviews lately talking about how he thought it was kind of a cool thing that a guy in a Laker uniform was going to, move by him on that list, and how he was happy for LeBron, and that was the tweet. He said, way to go, man, keep it moving, and nothing but nice things to say about LeBron, and those guys have always been kind of a mutual admiration society. And Jim, the people I thought about the most were, we've got people in our traveling parties that, and I'm on this list, that, our livelihoods and our jobs are as good as they are because of him. I mean, he created, again, I keep using the word star. You know that Hollywood and Los Angeles is a star-driven town. And he was the brightest one of all. He came to the Lakers and teamed up with Shaq and brought us all that excitement when Staples Center opened. And you'll remember this, Jim, that when Kobe and Shaq won those titles, there was no LA Live. Where you can throw into reports down at LA Live where all those people are gathering. LA Live didn't exist and maybe never would have come along if it weren't for Kobe. Those guys kind of built the downtown Staples Center energy up, and then they put the big hotel up, and they put up the Nokia Theater, which is now the Microsoft Theater, and so it's just the news today is my reaction to all this is kind of between sadness, disbelief, and shock, equal parts, all three.
John, you are one of the few people that have seen Kobe from day one up until today, and you know exactly how he operates, how he feels, the passion that he has in his heart. he was a guy who really, really cared about wearing that purple and gold.
Maybe more than anyone ever, Jim. You know, if you ask people who's the greatest Laker of all time, some people will say, well, the most popular Laker was Magic. The all-time leading scorer in the NBA is Kareem. The Lakers have a rich history. But the brightest Laker star ever was Kobe. He's the only one who played 20 years with the Lakers. He holds almost every Laker record. And so because of that, he just, I mean, we used to use his name as a verb. We used to tell people when we were, you know, when I was working with you and at Channel 2 and then when I transferred over to become one of the Laker broadcasters, we'd say, well, if we can keep this game close, then we can just Kobe it in the fourth quarter, which was code for we just give him the ball and let him win the game. And he was like the Pied Piper. He had such a following because of that, because he brought so much fun and so much energy and so much star power to the Lakers. And I think that's why everybody today is reacting with so much emotion, because even people he had never met, he had brightened their world just by performing as well as he did. And that's why you're seeing these reactions from all your reporters when they're asking people about this news. And you know, Kobe's work ethic and his drive and his positivity is something you can take if you're a policeman or a fireman or an actor or an accountant or a sportscaster and apply it to you. It's the thing we always used to call the Mamba mentality. And so I think that's why you're seeing the reactions you're seeing today, is because he had that energy around him wherever he went.
John, appreciate your time. Keep the faith, buddy.
Good talking to you, Jim.
Okay, that's John Ireland, who's the voice of the Los Angeles Lakers. Pat?
All right. Thanks for that, Jim. Yes, just a tremendous work ethic, that's for sure. We always wanted to see those last shots that Kobe Bryant would make to win the game for the LA Lakers. You know, we've been talking about Kobe, obviously, and his beautiful, lovely daughter. There are other people on board that plane, 7 other people to be, in fact. And our Michelle Gili is live with a family member of one of those victims. Michelle?
Pat, that's right. For the past few hours, there have been hundreds of people coming out here to Orange Coast College, specifically onto the baseball diamond. People here grieving, and that is because Coach Alto, as he was known, John Altobelli, the head coach for many, many years here on this campus, is believed to have been one of those killed, along with his wife, Carrie, and his daughter, Alyssa. With me here is John's baby brother, Tony. And Tony, let's just first talk about how, you know, with regard to the crash, there's so little that you know at this point.
Yeah, I first heard about it. I was walking around Balboa, and I'd got a text message from my older brother asking if I'd heard about Kobe's chopper incident, not even knowing, he didn't even know that my brother may have been on that chopper. So I didn't hear anything about it. I started checking internets, and everything was completely overloaded, so I couldn't get any responses from that. So I reached out to one of our coaches, and my coach asked about my brother, and that made me curious. So I started texting coaches on this baseball field, and one of my assistant coaches called me and told me the news, and that was the first I'd heard of it.
We're going to step aside, Tony, as we continue to talk, just so we can see all of these players who are showing up here, embracing one another, families. There are so many tears being shed, and what they're telling me about your brother, Coach Alto, is that this was a family. He was a father. He was a mentor. Yes, it was about baseball, but there was so much more going on here.
Yeah, we always talk about at Orange Coast, the Pirate family, and we talked about that today. We talked about, you know, just what Alto meant to everybody, not just the players, but the parents and the time and the effort he's put in over the 28 years he's been here. To just look at this field is the perfect testament of my brother. This field was not in the greatest of shape when he took over the program, and it's now one of the top programs in the nation. So it's a legacy that unfortunately was cut off way too short, but it's going to live on for many, many years.
I want to mention that your brother won 4 national championships here at Orange Coast College last year. He was the National Coach of the Year. So we want to thank you for sharing with us. And we know that you've lost not only your brother, but sister-in-law and a niece. And we appreciate it. And we're all as a community grieving with you. Thank you so much. We'll throw it back to you guys in Studio City.
Michelle, thank you so much. Well, the red carpet is going on in anticipation of the Grammys. Brittany Hopper is there with The Vice. Brittany?
Okay, we're expecting to hear from Brittany Hopper any minute now because that live show or the red carpet show is going to start pretty soon. So we did want to get a last minute hit with Brittany to get some more information from her. There she is. Brittany, can you hear us?
Heated right now. A lot of people are starting to show up on the red carpet, and it's a very somber feeling, I can tell you. If we could just move the camera over here, we have Little Nas and Billy Ray Cyrus. We just saw Blake Shelton. And if we can bring the camera back over here, because I want to go live with Sheila E. You are an inspiration to many in the music world, but you sadly were telling me earlier today you got done with rehearsals because you will be performing tonight. And tell me what happened when you heard this horrible, tragic news of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, we just got off stage and they let us know that Kobe had passed away, and they grabbed my arm and just said, "We have to tell you this," and my knees buckled and I just broke down and just disbelief. And we're in Kobe's house. I mean, and we're doing a celebration of Prince tonight as well, and just the loss of the great
And Nipsey Hussle.
and Nipsey Hussle as well. So it's horrible what has happened today, but we need to really just enjoy and celebrate life, and we're going to do that tonight as well.
And clearly, you know, Kobe Bryant, he was obviously such a huge fixture in the sports world, but also in everyone's world, right?
Yeah, he's affected people, their lives, not just with basketball, but the things that he's done with his philanthropy and all this. There's tons of things. Yeah.
So charitable man and a father and a husband. And
this loss and his daughter is tragic.
It's tragedy. Well, as much as you can have a nice time tonight, enjoy yourself, and I appreciate you coming and talking to us on live TV. Thank you so much. I've been a huge fan of yours for a while, so thank you. You know, we talked to a lot of other people here tonight as well, and it's the same thing, just a somber day. I think we're going to go to a couple of sound bites. I spoke to Rick Ross earlier, and he too, I keep saying this, a man who does not show much emotion, but he showed a lot of emotion. Take a listen.
A big deal losing a massive superhero for us like that, and
definitely heartbroken. We grew up to Kobe, man. Like I know the city's hurting right now. I'm definitely hurting, but most important, praying for his family, you know, his wife and his 4 kids. So hopefully God will comfort them right now. You know what I mean? So you know, shout out to Kobe, long live Kobe. We in Kobe's house right now, and it's Kobe's house forever.
Not even sure how I could put that in words. You know, I just got the news, and like I said, I was actually getting dressed maybe a little over an hour ago, and somebody told me that, and you know, I just stopped what I was doing, and you know, I waited a minute or two, and I asked him reconfirm that, because either
I think all of us did.
Yeah, it's either I don't believe this, or I just don't want to believe this. But every time we ever came across each other's paths, I let him know I was a genuine fan of his work. He always moved himself in silence. He was always so classy. He was a great example on so many different levels, and a huge loss.
Now we're told the Grammys have had to change things up tonight in order to pay tribute to Kobe Bryant. We are live tonight at the Staples Center. Kobe Bryant's home away from home. I'm Brittany Hopper, back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks for that, Brittany. You know, before we move forward, Jeff, when Brittany talked about changing the show at the Grammys, so many things have happened during the Grammys period, and you know, coincidence of course, but I can remember, I believe it was several years ago, maybe 2012, when Whitney Houston died prematurely, and they had to change the show for tributes to her. Something like this happens with a superstar like Kobe Bryant, beloved by so many, and so, as she said, that's his house.
Yeah,
all of them said that. That's
in Kobe's house.
Kobe's house, right?
What's so interesting is to have somebody like Kobe that transcends the sport and is somebody that influences music and culture, and to have this happen in his house, the Grammys, on the night of his death. It's amazing how all this kind of intertwines, doesn't it?
You know, I heard someone on the radio earlier, Jeff, because I had just landed coming to work, and they said, now to say this, you remember where you were when John Kennedy died, when President Kennedy died? There are so many people that will say, I can remember what I was doing when Kobe Bryant died, because he was part of a new generation.
We're going to be breaking away from CBS 2 to take you to the Grammys, but we will continue our conversation here and the Kobe coverage on KCAL 9 throughout the evening. So we'll continue to bring that here on KCAL 9 at KCAL9.com, and CBS 2 goes to the Grammys.
All right, well, the world joins the city in mourning over the sudden death of Kobe Bryant.
Here's what we know at this hour about the tragedy that is hitting almost everyone very hard. 9 people on board that aircraft, that Sikorsky S-76 helicopter, when something went wrong over Calabasas this morning. We're told that they were rather on their way to a travel basketball game in Thousand Oaks when that chopper went down.
Well, in addition to Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna, Orange Coast College baseball coach John Altobelli has been identified as among the victims. The NTSB is on the scene investigating how the helicopter went down. We're looking at the weather conditions right now, and it seemed to be very, very foggy.
There was quite a bit of fog this morning, correct. So many fans shocked and saddened about the news, of course, of Kobe Bryant's death.
Well, we're going to go to Staples Center, where that's Kobe's house, let's face it. And we have so many fans that are out to give their respects to Kobe and his family. Our Leslie Marine is live there now. And Leslie, I can just imagine the sea of fans showing up for a very different reason today. You could think about all the times there were just thousands of people who showed up for a Lakers parade to cheer Kobe Bryant. And this time it's very, very different and very painful.
Yeah, I would say it's surreal for a lot of people, a lot of shock. If we can switch our camera around here, because you will see grown men and women in tears as they drop off just flowers, jerseys, basketballs, photos, whatever they had to pay the respects all to Kobe Bryant. There are literally so many people just in tears. You could feel the emotion. It is somber. Many people telling me the reason they came to Staples Center because this was Kobe's second home. This is where they had joyous moments with him. If you wanted to see Kobe, you could find him here. Even after he finished playing for the Lakers, he would always attend games, and fans would look forward to that, possibly seeing him courtside. So yeah, people bringing down what they have that obviously can memorialize Kobe Bryant. We do want to speak to Gabriel here. He actually was one of the first fans here. He brought down a floral arrangement. Gabriel, what does it feel like for you to be here? I know this moment feels very surreal for a lot of people.
Well, we're here. It's a somber moment, and at the same time, we're celebrating Kobe for all the greatness he's brought to LA, being an amazing father, a husband, a friend, a brother, everyone that he's been here, a son, and the best basketball player out there.
You told me that you were actually out doing things when you heard this. You immediately went to go get that floral arrangement and came down here. Why did you need to be at the Staples Center?
Because this is his domain, and I felt compelled that as his fan to bring and pay our respects to Kobe, Gigi, everyone who had passed, and I just felt that I had to come down here.
And I know when you first brought this arrangement, it said rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. You later obviously found out about his daughter Gigi. Why you went back out, got another ribbon? I mean, just as I'm sure a father, can you imagine this ever happening?
Yeah, no, it's so, we're all in shock. It's just terrible. But when I found out that his daughter was involved as well, it's even more heart-wrenching for everyone. I mean, everyone's with broken hearts, and I felt that she needed her memory to be shared as well, as long as everyone else that was involved in this. And I feel that everyone here is just, we're still in shock, and we're showing our love for Kobe, his family, and everyone.
Thank you so much, Gabriel, for talking to us. As Suzanne would show you, there are plenty of Kobe memorabilia around here, but also all the TVs here at LA Live have this in loving memory of Kobe Bryant sign flashed across the screen. You can see it all around here. Every so often, fans will start to cheer Kobe. They're going right now. You can hear them. They'll be chanting MVP. R.I.P. I will tell you, we've been here for about 2 hours now, and some fans that are standing right in front of this memorial have just not left. They're in tears, they're in disbelief. Across the street, of course, the Grammys going on, and LAPD has alerted people not to come down here. Obviously, it hasn't stopped them, but they want to continue to stress. Obviously, they have all the streets around here blocked off because the Grammys is going on at Staples Center. But as you can see, hundreds of fans here. I'll tell you, as time goes by, this LA Live area gets even more packed. But you can see people bringing down flowers. It's very emotional to be out here because, Pat, like you were saying, people came here to celebrate Kobe for so many years, celebrate the championships, celebrate his retirement, celebrate his jersey being retired. Any time that they want to celebrate Kobe, they would come down in front of Staples Center. And today they're remembering this great legend at his second home. Pat, Jeff?
Okay, Leslie, you know, you're mentioning some of the statistics there, Pat. We should probably take a moment to just kind of unfurl just the success that he had. He was a 5-time NBA champion, Kobe, 18-time NBA All-Star, 2-time NBA scoring champion, and then after basketball, he won that Oscar. And he's also a 2-time Olympic gold medalist.
Dear basketball, yes. And I'm hoping that we can get some video of that later for our audience. That was just a very beautiful piece, touching piece. And you mentioned him winning those gold medals for the United States.
Right.
He's just such an accomplished young man, but more importantly, I believe a family man.
Just as Jim had mentioned, there are very few people out there that are known by their first name, and Kobe is definitely one of them.
He is certainly one of them. We couldn't call him anything but Kobe. Well, the chopper that Kobe Bryant and 8 other people were riding in was actually headed to a youth basketball tournament in Thousand Oaks.
Kick It On Jake Reiner is live outside the Mamba Sports Academy, where Kobe's daughter was set to play later on today. Jake.
Jeff and Pat, we've been talking all afternoon about what Kobe has meant to the community, and I think this illustrates it. I'll step out of the way so you can take a look at the crowd that's gathered here outside the Mamba Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks. People have been coming by, dropping off flowers, telling Kobe stories. I spoke to a father earlier who told me that his daughter was set to play here today, but all of those games have been canceled. He also told me that Kobe was supposed to be here to coach his daughter in a basketball tournament called the Mamba Cup, which is a series of basketball tournaments for youth basketball here. And it is a weekend tournament that was supposed to end today. He was supposed to be here at 2 o'clock to coach that game. So a very somber mood here, people sharing stories and obviously tears as well. I spoke with a number of the kids that have benefited from the Mamba Sports Academy today. One of them actually got to spend some time with Kobe during a basketball camp one summer. And I spoke to him about what it was like to learn from the great Kobe Bryant.
I was starstruck, and it was amazing. It felt like I was in heaven, having fun, learning stuff. I learned that how to get after a defender and like get off of him and stuff.
How are you feeling today, buddy?
Sad, depressed.
What did Kobe mean to you as a Lakers fan or basketball fan?
He meant to me as my dad.
And that kind of illustrates how a lot of kids looked up to him as a father figure, as someone that was very influential in their lives. And back live, you can see the crowd still out here. They have been coming in droves all afternoon, and it's just remarkable to hear everybody's story, their connection when they've either seen Kobe at a game or met him in person. I know that I've had many arguments over my lifetime about, you know, who the greatest basketball player is of all time, and I'm always arguing that if you want someone in the fourth quarter with the ball, the game on the line, it's a close tie, I think, between Kobe and Michael Jordan. But, you know, as someone that's grown up in Los Angeles, of course, I would take Kobe Bryant in that matchup. And of course, with the game on the line, you got to give it to the Mamba. So, yeah, that's the scene out here. We'll continue to bring you the latest, and stick with us on KCAL 9 and CBS 2. We'll send it back to you, Pat and Jeff, in the studio.
All right, thank you for that, Jake. And love those memories, Jake. I certainly know exactly what he's talking about. For those of us who have grown up with so many of these wonderful players, to hear Jake say that, yeah, I don't know, would it be Kobe? Would it be Michael Jordan? And just think of the ones coming up later. I'm just going to mention LeBron, since he did pass Kobe's record last night.
Just on Saturday.
He is also going to be spoken of, or he already is in that vein. But from the barbershop talk around the country, can you imagine what it is now, what it is going to be? And that's all because of what he brought to the game. Very quickly, Jeff, I interviewed Kobe, I want to say maybe 2008. We were still showing the Lakers on KCAL. I went to meet him actually in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I talked to John Ireland before I did it to say, you know, I'm not going to talk to him about stats and things like that because that's not my lane. And you heard so much about how Kobe was pretty quiet. He didn't just like to talk to everybody, you know, he didn't like to answer a lot of questions. And he says, Pat, I bet if you asked him about his family, he'll just open up. And that's exactly what I did when, at the time, the two oldest girls were born. And it was like we were talking about each other, like on a living room sofa, talking for the first time, laughing and smiling. And, you know, I'm obviously going to remember that. But again, I was such a huge fan. I just remember when he came.
And, you know, that was the thought of so many people on their mind this morning when they heard Kobe Bryant, was that he possibly was with one of his daughters, because he supported his family. He supported his daughter so much. Obviously, he was going with his daughter to the Mamba Sports Academy for a basketball game. And that is just like the family man that we've heard over and over and over again. And what's interesting is you mentioned John Ireland. He had mentioned before in that interview with Jim Hill about there was a point in time where Kobe's name became a verb, and they would just say, we would just Kobe it. We would just Kobe it at the end in a tight game, and he would just take him over the top. As we take a look at these live pictures, this is the Staples Center where the Grammys are, and these throngs of people are there for Kobe Bryant.
Again, well, we have seen this outpouring before, but for very, very different reasons. Remember when he retired, when his jersey was that was one of the most illuminating nights, not just in sports history, but history period, because for people to come up and show the love and to thank him for all those years that he gave to the city of Los Angeles, the 5 championships, just the 150% effort that he gave every time he was on the court. To see them now, I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that is not just this evening. And again, I can't help but think about so many of the young people that he touched and want to be like Kobe, but also were just inspired to better themselves, because he proved what you can do through hard work. And that's what he was about. I think that's another reason why in the beginning he wasn't as, you know, he didn't just welcome media attention, because he was about the work. And he let the work speak for itself.
And we began a lot of reaction here on KCAL Now. We had Jerry West, we've had Magic Johnson, we've had Doc Rivers. We continue to follow all of that reaction coming in on social media.
There's so many people that have weighed in on social media, including President Barack Obama, President Donald Trump. We're going to go to Tina Patel now. She is live in the newsroom with more on this. Tina?
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine just everyone seems to have an opinion, because Kobe has been part of our collective lives for so long. As you said, President Barack Obama, Shaq, just few of the people tweeting about this sad news. Take a look at this. Shaq tweeted, "There's no words to express the pain I'm going through with this tragedy of losing my niece Gigi and my brother Kobe Bryant. I love you and you will be missed. My condolences goes out to the Bryant family and the families of the other passengers on board. I'm sick right now." And this is the tweet from Kanye West. "Kobe, we love you, brother. We're praying for your family and appreciate the life you've lived and all the inspiration you gave." John Legend tweeted, "I'm so sad and stunned right now in Staples Arena, where Kobe created so many memories for all of us, preparing to pay tribute to another brilliant man we lost too soon, Nipsey Hussle. Life can be so brutal and senseless sometimes. Hold on to your loved ones. We miss you, Kobe." And former President Obama tweeted, "Kobe was a legend on the court and just getting started in what would have been just as meaningful a second act. To lose Gianna is even more heartbreaking to us as parents. Michelle and I send love and prayers to Vanessa and the entire Bryant family, and on an unthinkable day." And that is what a lot of people are saying. It's just unthinkable that Kobe Bryant, who's known to so many in so many different worlds, is gone. Just a few of the tweets that we're seeing, all of these folks talking about on social media. Live in the newsroom, I'm Tina Patel. We'll send it back to you.
Very big outpouring, Tina. Thank you so much. All of that coming to us from social media. Let's take a look at this picture here. This is going to be the live look at the Staples Center. This is where the Grammys are tonight, but you see there in the billboard, you see the crowds. They're all there for Kobe Bryant. And we can tell you that the flight from Long Beach was to Mamba Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks. When that helicopter went down about 9:45 this morning in Calabasas, 9 people on board. And we have confirmed now of 6 victims. We have Kobe, of course, his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, John Athabelli, also known as Coach Alto, Orange Coast baseball coach, his wife, Carrie, and daughter, Alyssa, along with Christina Mauser, who's a basketball coach at Harbor Day.
Just a really horrible day. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. And Sarah Donchie, Pat is taking a moment off now. And something that she said before she left the set was really interesting, and I think is actually something we're going to see play out over the next couple of days. This is not a scene that we're going to see just for this evening. I think people are going to be creating more memorials and gathering in places all over LA for the next several days. You have to imagine now there are funerals that need to be planned for Kobe Bryant. I imagine that will include some kind of a large public gathering here in Los Angeles.
I would assume the Staples Center
Absolutely.
would be.
And, of course, we don't have details on any of that yet, as this is just developing, and this is news that we just got this morning. So a lot needs to be done to process this information, for the families to process this information. But this is something that we will ostensibly be seeing in the coming weeks. And I think that is going to be another moment when the city pauses and realizes the impact that Kobe Bryant had on this community and lovers of basketball. I know you're a huge basketball fan.
Sure.
People really, especially growing up here, people really bonded over Kobe Bryant and what he did for the Lakers. And people really bonded just, families. I've been getting texts from friends who just are talking about what an incredible role Kobe played in their childhood, in their adulthood, in just their love of the game of basketball. It's transformative, and it's a really sad day. And I do want to say it's such a sad day for his daughter, for Vanessa and their family, and for the families, this coach's family, and all of the victims in this plane crash. This is an equally sad and devastating day for them.
Sure. You mentioned those memorials, and those are growing. We have them at the Calabasas crash site. We have them at Staples Center, which you see there. We know it's at home in Newport Beach, and we also understand it's out at the Mamba Academy in Thousand Oaks. And that's just the beginning of this. This is just a few hours old, and this is going to grow and grow and grow.
I mean, look at this live shot. It's just amazing to see how many people are gathered down there. I do know that we've been reporting on this, Jeff. I know we've been talking to Leslie Muddy in the last hour or so, saying LAPD was actually asking people not to gather. Obviously, resources are going to be stretched in on a day where the Grammys, where you have such high security there, and all the resources being poured into that event to make sure that is safe and secure. And now you have this large gathering of people, which LAPD now has to contend with. So they are trying to do their best to make sure people stay safe in this kind of a situation. I think that's probably why they're asking people to stay back. But this goes to show just how much people really love Kobe and what he means to them, and how much he'll be missed.
On the ground right now is the NTSB. They will be investigating this helicopter crash in Calabasas. There are 18 members of the NTSB. We had a press conference earlier. They say this is no smaller or larger than any other NTSB investigation. They said that the 9 bodies remain there on the scene, and that's part of the investigation that will continue with the NTSB. Any new information we get on that, of course, we'll bring that to you here on KCAL 9. But Sarah, it's interesting to bring up all the reaction and the people that we've talked to. We talked with Jerry West, who said that Kobe had an enormous desire to succeed, was an inspiration for all. Magic Johnson said nobody took more pride in putting on a Lakers uniform than Kobe Bryant. And one of his competitors, Doc Rivers, the Clippers coach, says a great opponent, and that's what you want in sports, somebody to play against, like Kobe Bryant.
And he was really, really emotional as the Clippers had their matchup today. And
they had a game tonight.
Crying to the media, talking about how he needed to go talk to the team. I mean, his voice was shaking. It was really, really sad just to see how much pain he was in. The Rockets playing, Tyson Chandler was crying. Sometimes some of the players in the last couple of hours were getting the news on the court. There's a lot of conversation about, whether the games should be played or why they are still being played. And obviously a lot goes into canceling games at the last minute. Certainly fans are being considered in this process as well, but it is a hard day for players in the NBA today who have to go on and play their games like nothing happened. And this man was a friend to them. And obviously just this loss of life is so devastating for these players. And we do have some new information. Our producer's letting us know, aside from Kobe Bryant, we have confirmed identities of some of the other victims. We're working to bring you that information right now. A lot of people have been asking about, who else was on this aircraft. We know multiple victims involved. We've confirmed Kobe Bryant's 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, was also killed.
That's right. Kobe had also coached Gianna's AAU basketball team out of his Mamba Sports Academy. That's the facility in Thousand Oaks where Jake Reiner was just a few moments ago. That was for the past 2 years. They were all reportedly headed to that AAU game when that helicopter crashed.
Yeah, now we know Orange Coast Community College baseball coach John Altobelli was among the victims, as well as his wife and daughter. Just devastating for this local family. Altobelli was entering his 24th season at Orange Coast College as Orange Coast College's coach. In 2019, Altobelli was selected as the American Baseball Coaches Association National Coach of the Year after a season in which he led the Pirates to a state championship. Jeff, you're a family man too. It is just hard to imagine what Coach Altobelli's family is feeling right now, and we want to send our deepest condolences to them. This is just a terrible day for that community, for that family as well. He had a beautiful family, and we're just thinking about them right now.
And this is a picture of Altobelli's wife here. Her name is Carrie. Now, John Altobelli, affectionately known by his baseball squad as Coach Alto, said that she and the couple's daughter, Alyssa, also on board that plane when it crashed. And the husband of Christina Mauser posting on Facebook that she died in that helicopter crash as well this morning in Calabasas. Mauser was a basketball coach at Harbor Day School where Kobe's daughter attended. Mauser's husband says that he and his children, of course, devastated.
Oh, it's just really a tough day for all of these families and all of these communities. We're thinking about all of them today, and the pain that they must be feeling is immense. Obviously, Kobe Bryant was well known, but all of these people had families who cared about them. Some of them losing multiple members of their families, and it's just really hard and a difficult story for us to cover for sure. We have reporters all over the area. I know that Jeff Nguyen was at the practice facility in El Segundo.
He's with the Lakers practice facility. Let's go to him now. Jeff, what's the latest?
Hey, if I'd be able to ask Mike Armijo to kind of pan the camera off me right now and show you the dozens of people who have gathered out here. There is a growing memorial of people who are here shedding tears, but also smiling and sharing their stories about Kobe Bryant. And some of the people who are sharing some of those stories are my new friends here, Taylor and Keenan. Taylor, let's start with you because you're from Westchester and you coached some young players that Kobe was very active in coaching as well. Talk to me about his participation in that program and what he meant to the kids and to you.
At Westchester, I graduated in 2011, and we had a championship basketball team for years and years. Shout out to Coach Zam. He was the one who got Kobe to come, and Kobe would literally come and sit with all of our basketball players and tell them, because Westchester was a predominantly black school, and it being a predominantly black school and just growing up as a minority, you're pretty much told, you won't make it. It's not a possibility. And he would come and tell these kids that as long as you have that work ethic, as long as you keep trying, anything is possible. And that man had so many rings, so many rewards, just did so much for the community, and he wasn't even from here. And for someone to not be from LA and work so hard to make sure the kids that live in LA, black kids, Hispanic kids, just any minority and everyone in general, just that's not common out here, and especially for a celebrity. And so someone who has that big of just everything on him, you can't put one thing on this man. And he did everything in his power to make sure that those basketball players knew that it was possible. And a lot of them did go and get scholarships for basketball. A lot of them are very successful now. And I'm pretty sure they could say the same thing, like meeting him those 4 years changed their lives. I mean, it changed my life, and I just got to work with the man. So imagine playing with him.
You mentioned young people of color in Westchester. For those of us who are familiar with Southern California, this is a working neighborhood, right? And to see someone like Kobe, who was fluent in Italian, fluent in Spanish, talk to me about the impact that had on young people of color.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Italy, but if growing up in LA, you have friends of all different ethnicities, and we all know every ethnicity has different cultures. And this man made all the cultures he learned into one cohesive thing and taught everybody all of that. And his temperament, me being an athlete myself, we all know that when you get on the court, everyone's an enemy. Everyone's an enemy. It doesn't matter if you guys have grown up together, are brother and sister, but off that court, he was a gentleman. He did things for people that you wouldn't even expect a celebrity to do. He put his hand out to shake people's hands, and some celebrities just walk past. He did a lot. This man played with a torn Achilles. Like, there's things that this man has done, not only for himself, for his team, for his family, for everyone in LA, that will forever be remembered. And the different cultures that he learned definitely made him a better person, because the temperament he had, just the way he carried himself, to say that the cultures that he embraced didn't have anything to do with that would be insane.
You talked about he played with a torn Achilles, and if you are someone from a working class neighborhood, the idea of having to grind it out day in and day out without the multi-million-dollar contract, that's a template, no matter being a butcher, baker, candlestick maker, regardless, right?
I remember being 17 and my senior year, and I had surgery on my stomach, and they told me that I couldn't play volleyball. I was like, no, I'm going to play. And then the only thing in the back of my mind was, if Kobe's going to play with a torn Achilles, 10 stitches in my stomach isn't going to stop me. And so many kids did that, just not me, just not Keenan, just everyone. Everyone who was a fan of Kobe, if they ever got hurt and was an athlete, they're like, shh, if Kobe could do it, I can do it. So Kobe had an impact, whether you were female or male, no matter what you did in life, you said Kobe. You shoot a paper ball inside of a trash can. Kobe, so it's like Kobe is synonymous to LA. You can't get any better than Kobe. And so the fact that he's gone, Gigi's gone, her teammate's parent, it's sad. That pilot, it's really sad. It's one of those situations to where you would never think that someone like Kobe, especially his 13-year-old daughter, would be taken like that, especially on something that he does on a daily basis. I've passed that helicopter pad before. So it's a little shaken. It's tears have been falling. Today's going to be a hard day for everyone in LA for sure.
I don't want to be rude to Keenan because he's been polite here. So let me turn the mic over. Hey, Keenan, you led the folks here in a chant and you're smiling about it. So why don't you go ahead and tell me about that chant? Because a lot of people gave you a lot of props for it when they passed by earlier as we were waiting to talk. So can you kind of replicate that for me?
Of course, no problem. I was kind of just saying in an instance if Kobe and his daughter were being introduced into heaven, to whoever you believe in, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever, it would go a little something like, introducing the 6'6" shooting guard from Lower Merion High School, 18-time All-Star in the NBA, 2-time MVP, holds the second most points in a single game at 81, first-time unanimous ballot for the Hall of Fame. Introducing, God, you got a good one, Kobe Bean Bryant. So something like that, they loved it, and it made me feel better too, because I've been down, and she tell you too, I'm a shoe connoisseur sometimes. So came and brought my Mambas out, signed them, and she said it's gonna be a hard day, but as we were saying earlier too, Kobe really did put a template out, just to say something's Kobe system on playing hurt. Doing things like I said, the language thing you even spoke of. He actually used that on the court. Learned French for a game to talk mess to Tony Parker. Learned when he's talking to Luka Doncic on the sideline the other week. And just now, we're sitting here looking at him from this side of things, and his daughter and the people who unfortunately were on the helicopter. But I'm just glad, as I said earlier. Of course, my children, when I do have them, one day they won't be able to say they could do the same. But I'm happy and blessed to say I lived in the same world as Kobe Bryant.
You said that his legacy isn't just basketball. The man won an Oscar. He's behind a $100 million investment fund. As a young man of color, to see someone put forth his money to make these sort of investments and tell stories that otherwise are not told, your reaction to that?
It was definitely necessary, and it still is necessary. Like I said, the fact that you come across athletes and things of that nature, and once it's just football, basketball, baseball, most of the time they're done. I'll coach, maybe I'll do some training on the side. Kobe won an Oscar. Kobe wrote books. Kobe directed. Kobe produced things. Kobe coached. everything just to show that I'm not going to stop. And I feel like that's kind of the meaning. I keep taking it back to what early years, but that's the meaning of that Kobe system, that you don't put a ceiling on yourself. Whatever it is, you be a different animal, but the same beast. And I might get that tattooed on me, sir. So we'll see.
Hey, I don't know if the control wants me to toss it back, but if I can keep on going. Taylor, let me turn the camera back to you one more time, because you were talking about the sort of dad that he was. You know, a lot of people ask Kobe about not having a son to kind of carry on his basketball legacy. You're smiling, and tell me why you're smiling, because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
For one, I am the middle child of 3 girls and 2 actual stepsisters. So my dad is one of those dads, you know, who is an amazing man who didn't have a son to continue that legacy. But just like Kobe was saying, my dad would say, it doesn't matter. You know, Gigi played basketball just like he did and was an amazing player. He has 3 other daughters who are amazing in whatever they do, you know, and he was that type of father who, it was really like, I don't care if they don't want to play basketball. I have 3 beautiful, healthy girls, well, now 4, and that's all that I care about. If they want to play basketball, cool. If they don't, that's fine. As long as they're successful and have passion with whatever that they do, that's every father's dream. And just thinking about how my dad is with me, and just like, if I don't follow in his footsteps, he won't be completely upset. And that's exactly how Kobe was. And it's very, very sad and heart-turning to know that those 3 girls have to now grow up and be like, well, my dad will love for me to do this. And I know those girls are going to bleed Kobe for the rest of their life. You know, that's all they knew. And not having a son is not the biggest downfall.
Well, you are both so gracious. Thank you for sharing those stories. It was lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for your time.
Definitely,
Thank you so much. And before we hand it back to you, I'm going to go ahead and step out of the way so you can get one more look at the Growing Memorial here. But from El Segundo, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, one of the many memorials across the Southland. This is at the LA Lakers practice facility. That is where people are gathering. They're also gathering, of course, at the Staples Center. That's home of the Lakers, as well as the crash site in Calabasas. Also in Thousand Oaks at the Mamba Center.
That was just one of my favorite interviews of the day, I think. That was just so touching, their experiences. Jake Reiner, who I know is a major LA sports fan, including the Lakers, a big fan of Kobe Bryant. Jake, I know you grew up here too, and that this is hitting you hard personally. You're standing in Thousand Oaks at the Mamba Sports Academy, the training facility established by Kobe Bryant, and you're standing with a fan now. Tell me who you're with.
Hey there, sir. Yeah, it's been a really tough day for everybody here that has been growing up a Lakers fan. And obviously here in Thousand Oaks, we're at the Mamba Sports Academy, which was Kobe Bryant's way of giving back to the community. I'm joined by Laker fan Josh Alpert. Josh, you came here today. Kind of tell us why you decided to come out. I saw you, staring at the Growing Memorial here. You gotten very emotional.
Yeah. So, like everyone else, this morning started out as a regular day, and all of a sudden, one of my neighbors from the Calabasas area posted that Kobe Bryant was dead, and I just had like a panic attack, and I broke down, and I thought it was like fake news for a moment. I couldn't imagine that it would be true, and then went crazy looking for some credible news sources, and found out it was true, and just sat in my chair all day watching different news clips of whatever was going on, and I'm just sitting there like I'm mourning, almost like a family member. I haven't felt this way since my father died, like maybe 10 or 11 years ago, and I kind of feel crushed by it. Kobe was, not only was he a superb athlete, he was an icon. He wasn't only a Los Angeles icon, he was a worldwide icon, and this one just hit extra hard. There's celebrities and athletes that die all the time, but this one really got to me, and I felt like I had to come here, being that it's within reasonable distance, and pay my respects like everyone else.
What is it like to be here with all of these Lakers fans kind of mourning together?
It's no different than being at a funeral. It's very somber, and it's terrible. I don't know how else to describe it. It literally feels like no different than being at a cemetery right now. It's pretty bad.
Some fans have been sharing their Kobe memories. Everybody has a story, whether you met him or you were at a pivotal game. Do you have any memories or thoughts that you can share with us?
So I moved out here 4 years ago. Grew up in New York, and I was always a Kobe Bryant fan from across the country. Even before I claimed to be a Lakers fan, I would always catch him in Madison Square Garden whenever possible. And I caught the end of his career out here when I moved here a few years ago. And I think my best memory surrounded by Kobe was the day of his last game. I had full intentions of going to that game, and I forgot that I booked a business trip to New York, and I was so angry because I really wanted to be there, and because I knew it was going to be special. And you can't watch these things live on the plane, but somehow my flight got canceled, and we had to take another flight with JetBlue, and they happened to have DirecTV, and I got to watch the whole game going home, and it was just such a happy moment. That was just one of them. There's a million different ones, but that one is probably the one that sticks out of my mind the most. That experience, and the fact that he had such an extraordinary, outro for his career.
Right. And we're here at the Mamba Sports Academy, where he, according to a number of people here, was supposed to be here today to coach his daughter in a basketball game as a part of the Mamba Cup tournament series here. And it just adds to the whole day just being just a horrible, horrible tragedy. But it also shows that he was always willing to give back to the community. And I think that that's kind of what's defining him today.
Yeah, you're right. He was supposed to be here. As a matter of fact, he was here yesterday. They have this big tournament going on. I was supposed to be here last night. I decided at the last minute not to go. And I do know from people that were playing in the tournaments today between here and Oaks Christian, they found out, and just everything got canceled. He was absolutely supposed to be here with his daughter to continue playing. So yeah, it's very heartbreaking. I don't even know what to compare this to. Like, besides when close family member who died. I don't know exactly why I felt he was a close family member, but I guess that's the impact that someone who brings so much joy to your life after 20 years has on people.
Right. And he spent every year with the Lakers, all 20 years he spent here in Los Angeles. That means something. You don't see that every day from players.
No, not at all. It's a very rare thing for players to have longevity with any team. A lot of players, go hopping around for more money or to win rings, and he was lucky enough on draft day to get traded to LA, and he had the best platform possible to go on and win his 5 championships, and he did it all here, and that's very special, something you don't see very often anymore.
Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate your thoughts and your emotions as well here at the Mamba Sports Academy. If I can just step out of the way just to kind of show you guys kind of the crowd that's been gathered here all afternoon, people coming by and dropping off mementos, pictures, jerseys, balloons, flowers, you name it, people sharing their stories about what this guy meant to not only the Lakers, but to Los Angeles and to everybody around the world. He defined that mentality, that Mamba mentality of never give up. You always have a shot to win a game. I mean, as a fan watching, to have a player on your team knowing that at any point, no matter what the deficit was, you always had a chance to come back and win. It was just such a thrill to watch from a fan standpoint, and being out here today is also special to be amongst everybody here paying their respects to Kobe Bryant. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, that gentleman there really kind of says what most people are feeling. It's like a member of your family's passed away. I have friends in Chicago, San Antonio, Houston, Detroit. I mean, and all of those people from those different areas outside Los Angeles texted me today to talk about Kobe Bryant. It just shows the global appeal, and it really truly is like somebody has lost a member of the family, especially here.
I just think that, for so many years in LA, that Kobe's milestones were almost all of our milestones, that they punctuated so many important moments in all of our lives. And just a couple of months ago, I remember going on YouTube and watching Kobe Bryant's 81-point game in 2006, every point that he scored. And it was just, I feel fortunate now to be able to have watched him play in person at Staples Center. And I think so many people who had the opportunity to see Kobe play over the years feel that very same way, that it was a privilege to be able to watch him play that game the way very few people have been able to do before or since.
I was here in 2016 with that last game. That season was not a very good season for the Lakers, but that last game of Kobe Bryant, he rose to the occasion. It just was amazing how you saw him put in the whole career, the whole life effort into that last game.
It was
and
such
scored
an appropriate way to end his career.
Life.
It was, that game, was so important for so many reasons, for so many people. And it was so important for Lakers fans to see him end that way.
Right.
And it was just so fitting for the way that he'd played throughout his entire career. And Jake brought up a good point. And I remember just being so excited watching him play, even games where the Lakers were struggling.
Right.
Like Jake said, if Kobe was on the court, you knew that there was a chance. This was just a generational talent, just an athlete to marvel at, and truly, by all accounts, a person who's impacted the LA area in a lot of ways beyond the sport of basketball.
And the play-by-play radio announcer, John Ireland, said that it just got to the point where he would put the team on his back, that they would use the name Kobe as a verb. And if they could just get to the fourth quarter, then they could just Kobe it into the victory column. It's amazing. We've talked to so many people here live on KCAL 9 and CBS 2 throughout the morning here. Jerry West had said, Jim Hill said he's largely to be credited for discovering Kobe. Former Lakers player, GM of the Lakers, said he's one of the most horrible days of my life. It's like I lost a son, just like that gentleman said he lost a family member.
Just a feeling that a lot of us, I think, are feeling today. And Jeff Nguyen is at the Staples, at the Lakers practice facility in Thousand Oaks. I have to say, you had a couple of my favorite interviews of the day. Both of those people who are talking to me about their experiences with Kobe as players, about how he taught them to play through adversity and to play through injury. I just thought what they had to say was what a lot of people got out of how Kobe Bryant was so inspiring as a player.
Yeah, I think that's the running theme here, is that work ethic, that Mamba mentality that so many of us remember and so many of us speak about. Right now, I'm being joined by Rick Mercia, who grew up in Inglewood, which is in the shadows of the Forum, where Kobe played initially for Dale Harris before the team moved into Staples and were led by Phil Jackson. So for you, when Kobe was 17, and when he was 19, when he won that first championship, you were a young man. Talk to me about some of the memories that Kobe brought into your family, because your mom and your wife and your sister are here with you.
I saw his first game at the Long Beach Pyramid with D-Fish. Great memories. I saw him play at the Forum. I saw him move to Staples. I saw him win his first championship. I seen him lose his first championship. I had so many great memories of him. He's like family to me and my family. Me and my wife had our engagement photos at Staples Center because of him. I'm going to name my first child after him. And everybody told me I was crazy. It's a blow today, but, I miss him like crazy. I feel so bad for Vanessa and the kids and Gigi and everyone. I'm just in utter shock right now, but I'm trying to hold it together, but I'm really trying to remember some of the good right now, but it's just tough. But I can remember my first Laker game that my wife took me to for my birthday. Kobe shook one person's hand. It was my hand by luck, and she was more excited about it than I was. And memories like that will always stick with me. He's an amazing human being. I always wanted to be like him, talk like him, move my mouth like him. He was a spitting image of Michael Jordan sometimes, and he was probably the greatest player I ever got to see live.
For those of us who are Gen Xers or younger, his coming of age, in a sense, was our coming of age. You mentioned Vanessa. When he won that first championship, she was on the bus with him, wearing her braids and whatnot. You're smiling. Talk to me about, what that was like for you as a young person, the city getting that first championship again after the eras of Magic and Kareem.
It was wonderful. I remember it. We had a barbecue. We saw them win their first championship. Everybody was popping champagne. I remember being one of 1 millionth that showed up to that parade and seeing Kobe and Vanessa on the truck, and it was wonderful, and it was a wonderful thing to see, and I'll never forget it.
Growing up in Inglewood, was it even an option to like any team other than the Lakers?
My dad was a Magic guy. We grew up in a Laker household. There was nothing else but to be a Laker fan. That's the truth.
Gotcha. Do you think your wife would want to talk to you? Do you want to come over and join us, or mom? No, you guys are too kind. Sister? No. you know, whose idea was it to come down as we're kind of showing them?
My mom, my sister, they said, "What are you doing? Let's stop being here and let's go pay our respects." And I told them, "Let's go." We went to the forum, and then after we went to the forum, we decided to come down here, and we just wanted to lay some flowers and say some good things about him and send out our prayers to his family and the rest of the, you know, the families that were affected by this.
Rick, thank you very much for being so gracious to give me your time. Pleasure. Mrs. Mercia, nice to meet you. You're very kind. Thank you so much. And from the Laker training facility here in El Segundo, we'll send it back to you.
Hey, Jeff, thank you so much. Live from the Laker training facility, serving is just one of those places where people are gathering throughout the Southland. We know it's there. We know it's in Thousand Oaks at the Mamba Sports Academy. We know it's at the crash site in Calabasas, as well as his home in the Newport Coast, as well as the Staples Center.
Just unbelievable to see the video of how many people are outside Staples. I suppose that should not be surprising, but you know, considering the Grammys are down there as well, you know, LAPD, by the way, keeping an eye on that. They want to make sure everyone stays safe, and obviously they were, you know, planning for the Grammys. That's a high level of security over there, and now they have this large gathering of people to contend with. I'm sure they want to make sure that everything stays calm in the downtown area. So they were initially asking people not to show up, although there are now hundreds, if not thousands, of people there.
It appears that they're embracing that, which is a good thing, because LA Live, right across the street from the Staples Center, they put a billboard up in remembrance of him, and I think that's a very good opportunity for people to go down there. I mean, as somebody said earlier, this is the house that Kobe built. This was his home. Staples Center is him. It really is. And we've had a chance to speak to a lot of people throughout the morning and the afternoon and into the evening here on KCAL 9. Magic Johnson, Doc Rivers, and Jerry West as well. Let's hear from Jerry now.
To hear this news this morning, frankly, at first I was shocked. And then after a while, it's really sunk in. And, you know, to see the transformation of him from a 17-year-old kid who used to spend time at my house with me, to my son Ryan driving him around because he couldn't drive. He couldn't even sign a contract because he was too young. To him, the constant questions about the NBA, wanting me to go to a gym with him to watch him work out and maybe make suggestions to him. It was more than, I really felt like a surrogate father to him. And then as his career blossomed and, you know, he started to establish this enormous reputation as a player and also filled with accomplishments. But his charisma on top of it was something that most great players don't have, and he had it. But to wake up to this news, this has been one of the most horrible days of my life. I felt like I've lost a son, and frankly, not doing very well.
I think some of the most emotional sound that we've heard and interviews that we've gotten have been from NBA executives, former NBA players, just, you know, current players are out there playing games right now. There are NBA games scheduled and they're ongoing as we speak. And it's just been so hard to see the reaction to this. And some of them finding out on the court, it looked like, from some video from earlier. So this is just a really hard day. Obviously, Jerry West, incredibly emotional. And some other players and former players are posting online too.
It was amazing because Jerry West went on to say that Kobe has an enormous desire to succeed and inspiration for him. That's really one of the reasons why he transcended the sport. He was an inspiration for everyone, not just people that were into athletics. And we had a soundbite earlier from somebody who said, I think it was from John Ireland, that said it didn't matter if you're a police officer or a plumber or a doctor. You found inspiration from Kobe Bryant.
I think that's so true. And, you know, one of the players that posted, former players, I should say, legends, NBA legends that posted about this on social media with a video response fairly quickly after this news spread was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He went to Twitter to post a video reacting to the news of the death of Kobe Bryant. Here's what he had to say.
It's very difficult for me to put in words how I feel about the loss of Kobe Bryant. As a young boy, I met him when he was 11 or 12 years old. I was friends with his dad, Joe. We were former adversaries. Joe played for the 76ers, but he was a good friend and someone that I shared a friendship. And it's hard for me to understand now how this is affecting Joe and his wife. So To Kobe's family, I want to send my most sincere and heartfelt regrets and prayers, and my thoughts are with you guys. Kobe was an incredible family man. He loved his wife and daughters. He was an incredible athlete and a leader in a lot of ways. He inspired a whole generation of young athletes. He was one of the first ones to leave high school and come to the NBA and do so well, dominating the game and becoming one of the best scorers that the Los Angeles Lakers has ever seen. I had the privilege of being there when he scored his 81-point game, and it was something that I will always remember as one of the highlights of the things that I have learned and observed in sports. Kobe, my thoughts are with you. Absolutely. Rest in peace, young man. This loss it's just hard to comprehend. Go with God.
Another Laker great, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, talking about Laker great Kobe Bryant.
And we are going to be hearing tributes all throughout the evening. Another gentleman who really stands out in particular because of his greatness in coaching these basketball players, but at the same time, him being a father also. He was so emotional today. Really, our hearts feel bad at the same time for Clippers coach, Doc Rivers, and we do have some sound from him that we want to play right now.
Listen, I don't know. I just don't have a lot to say. The news is just devastating to everybody who knew him, known him a long time. And, he means a lot to me, obviously. He was such a great opponent, it's what you want in sports. He had that DNA that very few athletes can ever have. The Tiger Woods and the Michael Jordans. It's funny. I was getting to know him more since he retired. This is a tough one. We have to go play. The news is just devastating for Vanessa and his family, and there's just so many people he touched, and it's looking at my young players and seeing how emotional they are. They didn't even know him, and it just tells you how far his reach was. So, and this is just shocking news for all of us. And sorry, I don't have a lot to say. I just can't. I have to go talk to a team before a game and tell them to play a game.
What was your last interaction with Kobe like?
That was great. We were at a function 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we sat and talked for probably 45 minutes. We always like to reminisce. We would always laugh at our versions of our losses. When we beat them in 2008, he had his version, and when they beat us in 2000, I had a version, and we laugh at how different we looked at the games. This is a great loss for the league, and I thought he had so much more left to do, and he was starting to do it. Never seen him happier, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm lucky that I was part. I was lucky that I, got to coach and compete, against him, and I feel for so many people. I mean, it's obviously his family. I can't imagine. Lou played with him. Ty Lue played with him. Cliff coached with him. Kawhi was very, very close with him, and so was Paul George. And he meant a lot of good for our league, and especially the competitive part of our league. So, sometimes things don't make sense, and there's times you should feel, just feel sad. This is one of them, and you have to get through it. We all will. We all have to be strong. We laughed and joked about the mama mentality. We're all going to need it right now. And there's nobody. I think everybody right now is a Laker fan. We're all Lakers today. You feel for that community, for Jeannie and everyone else. I think people think because you compete against people sometimes that you don't have a relationship with them and you don't like, and it's probably the exact opposite. I think sometimes the more you compete, the more respect you have for the opponent. I would say that's the way I felt with Kobe, and so that's all. I just don't have a lot to say.
Just moving statements there from Coach Doc Rivers, a father, someone who knew Kobe Bryant very, very well. And then just picking on some of the
All right, guys, I'm going to close this out. Thank y'all for watching with me. I didn't want to talk through this. This is a little sad. But I got to go in there and finish recording, Lisa.
Hasn't quite turned a year.
Right.
And 3-year-old, and then poor the other.
I see y'all later. Don't forget to thumb up the video, hit the like button, hit that like button, and share the video.
Mentioned it earlier. Remember,
all right.
Joe Jellybean.
We talk to y'all later.
His dad, his mom, his
y'all have a good night. Stay
Vanessa's
blessed.
family. There's just so
life is too short. You never know.
In a very close-knit
all this stuff going on throughout the world,
such as the Laker Nation, people of Los Angeles who may not necessarily have been Laker fans, but still admired and respected Kobe Bryant. And you certainly couldn't take that away from him. Not only his ability to.
All right, guys. Talk to y'all later.
His tireless work ethic. I could remember kids, Sarah, just